This episode is brought to you by SD Sober Living. If you or someone you know needs a safe, supportive recovery home, then reach out to SD Sober Living at www.sdsoberliving.org or call 619-334-9869. That's 619-334-9869. Come get some Fuck Fentanyl and some San Diego recovery at SD Sober Living.
Cheers, my friend.
I take my time, and maybe it's been a little too long. Give me peace of mind from the burden. Won't you break these strongholds? Wish I could press rewind, but my faith says different. Know your love is perfect. I was lost, I was searching. I'm surrounded by your grace. Wish I could see you face to face. Now I know your way.
Yeah. Melancholy.
Yeah, you gotta have emo worship music.
Yeah.
I didn't become a Christian to not have a variety of genres. You know?
I see. Yeah.
Like, I like mainstream worship music too, but I try to find stuff that is similar to what I like to listen to.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of like metalcore.
Okay.
That's faith-based and stuff. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Right
that's
on.
one of my favorite like emo ones.
Emo Christian. Cool,
Emo
dude.
Christian, yeah.
Fuck it. I like that. My name is Lisa Bre Owens. I'm the Fuck Fentanyl guy, and this is the Fuck Fentanyl podcast. I have my friend Bre here.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Well, this is awesome. I actually wanted to do this for a while, and I asked you just very recently. But
Yeah, it took you a while.
a long time. I know. But I also got to complete the whole Mom's Convicted podcast.
You
now.
listened to the whole thing?
Well, not to the whole thing, but
But you listened to it.
yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I always say that it's not just for moms.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
even though it's called Mom's Convicted, it's really for anybody, especially people in recovery, I think can relate to a lot of what we talk about.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
And I think you guys are great. You know, you and Rachel, and then at least you, Stevie. And
yeah, I know. We miss
moved.
her. She brought so much laughter and joy to
Yeah.
the I mean, there still is, but she just was so funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We miss her and love her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. Let's do that. Where'd you grow up?
In the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning, very beginning.
So I was born in southern Utah. When I tell people that I'm from Utah, a lot of people picture like snowy mountains and snowboarding and
That's
like
cool.
Salt Lake City, but
Yeah,
that
that's
is
kinda
not
cool.
that's not really where I grew up.
No, that's not.
I grew up in the southern part of Utah, so it's
southern.
very like desert, red dirt.
That's kind of what I was imagining, but
Yeah, red dirt. I mean, some people might imagine that, but I've had a lot of people like just assume I'm from like the mountain
the cool
area, which it's nice up there. But I'm so glad I came from southern Utah because man, there was so much to do outside, and
Oh yeah.
it's really like a well-rounded 4 seasons. Like you
got
get, you get a hot summer, and then you get fall, and then you truly get like winter. Sometimes
Okay.
it may even snow.
Yeah.
In the mountains around there, it definitely snows. But yeah, so I was born and raised in a couple different spots because I had my parents were divorced when I was 1 year old, and my mom got with my stepdad. And so we moved to a very small town to live with him, and he had his son with him, and then he eventually got his daughter too, who were a little bit older than me, and then my mom also had my older sister. So there's 4 kids, and my mom and my stepdad, and then my dad lived in St. George, which is a little bit bigger, small town. Now it's kind of big, but at the time it was pretty small. Like growing up, like everybody knew everybody.
For sure.
And yeah, it's much smaller than San Diego. So I would go every other weekend to visit my dad, and every other holiday, and that was kind of the rhythm of things. It's really interesting because even through the chaos and everything that was always going on in my household, it seemed like somebody, usually not my mom, but sometimes like my stepdad or one of my siblings always got me to meet halfway to go meet my dad, like on the Friday or whatever. We would meet halfway in this town called Short Creek.
Okay.
And if you've been watching documentaries lately, you may have seen a documentary about the polygamists in Colorado City.
What? Really?
Yeah. So it's a whole thing, like the FLDS cult. It's basically the cult within the cult of Mormonism.
I see.
The people that have multiple wives and they were like marrying young girls and all that stuff.
In the Mormon church?
Think of them as like the extremist Mormons. Like when the Mormons stopped having multiple wives, these people continued and they had their own community. And they have a couple of them in Utah, but this one was in Colorado City, which is the short name is Short Creek.
Okay.
And so my family would meet halfway in Short Creek to hand me off.
Right on.
I'll get into a little bit more about that later about Short Creek, because it's pretty funny, because if you watch any documentary about like the polygamists, the FLDS, like I can sit there and tell you like everything that's accurate or not accurate because I was I was there, you know, and my stepdad, his parents were actually part of that community and left it. So it's like I'm like one generation removed kind of, because I was like the child of a child that had been in that community. Yeah. Which is really just crazy. Like, culture crazy. Like, anyways, so I basically started my life out as a kid, you know, playing a lot outside and kind of just being a latchkey kid. Like my parents, my mom, my stepdad were both drinkers, and my mom had a lot of like on and off mental health stuff going on. Okay. Looking back, like there was probably a lot of drug use when I was really little as well, but I don't really like know because I was a kid. So I was I was mainly playing outside and just like, you know, spending the days just out and about in the town. And there's like kind of a river creek that runs through there. So we'd be playing in the creek all the time, and then it would get dark and I would go home. And
that's when you go home. When the light goes on. Yeah,
sometimes there would be dinner there waiting, and sometimes there wouldn't. Sometimes my mom and my stepdad would be down at the bar, which was just over the Arizona border. It's literally the only bar for like so many miles. They'd be at the bar and kind of just leave it up to like the teenagers to take care of me, which, you know, teenagers, they're not really.
Sometimes.
They were all doing their own thing. And everybody had issues that they were going through. And it's just funny because I'm like, each time I've told my life story, I have a different perspective from where I'm at, you know, like absolutely. Where I've gotten to. And, just being in the place that I'm in now, being, you know, grown, you know, I'm 33 and I have a child, and just understanding things from a different perspective, and then also having more spiritual principles like forgiveness. Sure. It's different to look back at it from this angle, you know, instead of like maybe 5 years ago, it was a completely different angle, right? So
a lot of old feelings and resentments, maybe.
Yeah. Or just like the way we tell our story because of where we're at in our life at that time. Sure. And absolutely. What comes out, you know? Yeah. So our household was chaotic and there was a lot going on. My mom had a massive brain injury when I was like 4 years old. Yeah. I was at my dad's house, and I remember I was just like on the living room floor, and I was like watching TV, and we were getting ready to leave to take me home. And he answered the phone, and then he got off the phone and was like, "Your mom has been in a horse accident. Like, we got to go so we can give you to your sister. She's in the hospital. She has a brain injury," or whatever. I obviously didn't understand any of this, and he wasn't trying to explain it to a child. Right. But in my mind, I'm like, does this mean they have to put the horse down? Because, you know, when a dog like bites someone, they'll have to put the dog down. So I was like, are they going to have to put our horse? Are they going to have to put our horse down?
It's a bad horse now.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, no, they did not have to put the horse down. We had a few horses, and we had some cattle at one point. I grew up like not on a farm, but like we had animals on property. So we at the end of the day, we would go and like feed the horses, feed the cows. Yeah, so kind of farm life. Okay. And my mom was riding back from a barbecue. She had been drinking. She rode her horse over to a friend's house, barbecued. Kids rode the horse. She got back on the horse to come back to the property. And she didn't tighten the saddle.
Yeah.
And horses, when they're going home, they like run. Even when you're trying to stop them, they run so
Really?
fast to go home because they know they're going to get fed when they get there.
Oh, okay.
So it's
They're,
like
looking forward to it.
they haul butt, dude. They're going so fast.
Yeah.
And so the saddle slipped and she literally landed her head on the concrete while running super fast and ended up getting life flighted. And that was like a whole thing, you know, like that was really one of the major, like, at least as far as being a child went, like that was a traumatic moment where nobody was explaining to me really what was going on. And she was in the hospital for a really long time. Like she had to learn how to walk and talk again. Like she had a like serious traumatic brain injury. They didn't think she was going to make it. Like there was multiple times where I overheard family members talking about like how she might not make it. And my stepdad was just trying to like hold it together and then also drive all the way to Vegas to go see her because that was the nearest major hospital.
Yeah, I got you.
Which is like 3 hours away.
Yeah, but
yeah. So it was you know, going to see her in the hospital was scary, and nobody in my family I think knew what to say or do like at all, and I was just a kid, and that was scary, and then she ended up recovering, and when she came home, I think, at least for me, I thought things were going to be different. I kind of had a fantasy like everything's going to be like this perfect, like, you know, whatever family, because she's coming home after so long. Yeah. And when she got back, she ended up kind of just being the same. Like she continued to, you know, fall into addiction, drinking and whatever. And so that was just our life. Like we would go to Lake Powell a lot. We had a boat. Yeah. We always had like boats and 4-wheelers and trailers, and they were always like the most crappy, beat up ones, except for our boat. Our boat was actually pretty nice. Oh, okay. But we always had like things so we could do stuff because my stepdad owned an auto body shop, and it was the only one in town. And so he would trade a lot for things. Like he would get like a Wave Runner or a Sea-Doo on trade. It was like such a small town. I don't know, just bartering and trading for things. So we would go out to the lake, and we had some of the best times as a family. I mean, even with all of the fighting and the alcohol and everything going on, we had so much fun at the lake. Like I have so many good memories growing up on Lake Powell, on the boat at Lone Rock Beach.
Oh, that's awesome.
If you've never had the chance to go to Lake Powell, I highly encourage you to go before it dries up. Because it's literally
it's a drought going on?
It's drying up. Yeah, it's drying up very quickly, actually. But yeah, so there was just a lot going on, and it was normal in my household for there to be like a lot of fighting. Like it was not abnormal to see a fist fight in our family. Like it wasn't abnormal for the cops to be called to our house. I was always coached on how to talk to the cops or to CPS workers. Like I was always told, like, you don't talk to anybody unless I'm there by my mom.
Right. Yeah. Don't say shit.
Yeah. You don't say anything. So it was kind of ingrained in me that you don't, you know, to look at them as like the bad guy.
For sure. Yeah. Right.
And I don't know how my parents never got any of us taken away. I literally have no idea.
You guys didn't say nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that must have been it, because there's just a lot of instances where, you know, having worked in the field and having worked in behavioral health and all that, it's like I would have taken my siblings and myself and put us somewhere safer, you know. But my parents were just doing what they knew how to do, and they, at the end of the day, like we were fed, we were clothed, we made it to school. Usually, I would fake sick a lot, because I wanted to be with my mom. Like I always wanted to check on her and make sure she was okay. Yeah. And so we had our basic needs met, but the emotional needs were definitely not met. For sure. And I believe for me, it was from the very beginning, even as an infant. Like I don't know if I ever had the appropriate bond or attachment with my mom or not. Right. Like we definitely have had a good relationship here on and off, but just looking at like how it affects children when the parent's not super present in their life, it really affects us. Like even just like your parent dropping you off all the time somewhere, you know, whatever, it affects that attachment. And then it comes out in our relationships. And that's really what happened was my wounding around my mom, my relationship with my mom ended up starting to show up in every relationship as I grew up. And that was kind of the basis of the trauma that I went through, was like that attachment with my mom. Like I was always worried about her, trying to rescue her, making sure she was okay. And then as she went on to, she eventually went to federal prison when I was 11 years old. Wow. Because she was running drugs for the cartel. and she's always been into crime, paper crime, making money. You know, I mean, she was kind of an OG. Like, she was always up to something.
Oh, wow.
And so she had, I don't know when it began. I don't know when she got into it with the cartel, but she was running dope for the cartel. She got busted after doing it for a long time. She got busted, and it was a big indictment. Like, it was like a lot of charges, and she probably should have done life in prison, but because she had such a good attorney,
that helps.
Shout out cartel. Thank you. You know, like she had a great attorney. She was able to get 5 years. So when they gave her 5 years, she was like, great, you know, like I'll do that because it's much better than life, you know? And she did her time, and she wrote me a lot of letters, but at this point I was like 11, 12 years old by the time she was going to prison. And I was very angry. Like I would call her when she was out running and gunning, and I would be like, when are you coming home? And like, where are you? And kind of just like that reversal parental child role. Like I was trying to take care of her, protect her. Yeah. When really she should have been trying to take care of me and protect me. Right. And in her mind, I know she was just a using addict that believed her child was with safe people, because I was left with my family. Yeah. So she knew I was taken care of so that she could go do her thing. And that's something that just happens to us in addiction, where we once we know our kids are safe, it becomes okay for us to like continue to go about, and we're getting sucked deeper into addiction. And it's not like we want. I don't ever believe that my mom would ever wanted to be away from me. I don't think she was like, I want to just leave my kid and go do this. I think she was trapped in that lifestyle and the addiction, and she no longer had the choice in her brain to be able to choose, like, because of the substances. And so she went to prison, and I went to live with my dad. Okay. And I did that because my siblings, at this point, my oldest sister she had 2 babies at this point. She had kids very young. Her first was at 17. Yeah. So she had an apartment, and she was living down the street. And I tried to like stay with her and kind of lean on her, but there was just so much chaos going on all the time. And with not that my mom was really around, but like, I don't know. I just knew that like I needed to get out of there. And one of my biggest regrets is like I called my dad. I had him come pick me up, which he did. And he knew when the feds were about to go out. Like my mom, I don't know if it was the feds or if it was because first she got arrested in the town, and then like they dropped the case and the feds picked it up. Yeah. But at some point during that process, whoever called my dad and was like, "Yo, she's going to prison. Can you take your kid? You need to get ready." So he already knew it was coming. Sure. But when she got arrested, at first, I was like, no, I want to stay here and go to school and finish out my 6th grade year. I want to like be doing what I'm doing. And I was playing sports and doing things all the time. I always was like basketball, softball, dance, all the stuff. But I just couldn't take like the chaos anymore. And I started to really like, I just like didn't want to be like my family. I was like, I don't want to be like these people. I don't want to be in this family. Sure. So I called my dad. I had him come get me, and he came and got me. And I didn't even stop at the shop, at my stepdad's shop, to say goodbye to him. And that is one of my like biggest regrets, because I know that was something that hurt him. Even though I was still a kid, I think that he kind of was just like, oh, you're gone. Okay. You know, but like, what the hell? Yeah, for sure. And he never said anything. Really? He never said anything about it. No, he didn't, because he never was that type of person. But part of the reason I didn't stop and say goodbye was I just like totally lacked the ability at that point, at that age, to even know what was going on. Sure. Like it's easy to look back and like say everything, but I didn't understand what was going on. No,
absolutely not. Yeah.
So I ended up going to my dad's, and that meant like going to a new school, which it was a much bigger school. So it was a very big change. Got it. It meant leaving the things I was doing. And when I got to my dad's, like in the place he lived, the sports it wasn't the same. So like, I don't know. I just didn't get involved with sports and dance. Like, so I basically, so I basically stopped doing what I was doing, and then I went into a big new school, which was more like a middle school. They have 4 schools there. It's called intermediate, so it's like elementary to 5th grade, and then 6th and 7th grade is intermediate school. 8th and 9th grade is middle school, and then 10th through 12th is high school. And they break it up like that to keep the classes a decent size. Utah actually has an amazing school system. Oh, no shit. I totally credit them for any intelligence I may have. They did a great job.
That's right.
But this big school was scary, and I tried to find friends. You know, that was the main goal, was connection. Like I really needed to find connection, and
it's such a crucial time too.
Yes,
preteens.
Yes, and I was like already. I had been bullied a lot and left out a lot because I wasn't Mormon and my family wasn't Mormon.
Yeah.
And so I really felt that. I started to feel that. And like, I think I got bullied to the point where I became the bully. And so when I went to this new school, I kind of was already being an a-hole, but this is a big new school and there's a lot of kids. So I ended up meeting some kids on the bus that lived by me and then started hanging out with them. And of course it's like the kids that are from also broken homes. They're also going
the bus.
Yes, they're also going through struggles. And we just were like, we started just running amok. Like we'd go to the movies, but then we would leave and we wouldn't go see the movie and we'd go like just hang around and just go be a menace to society.
Yes,
whatever we could find to just get into, even though we weren't yet doing drugs or drinking, we were just being little
troublemakers,
shitheads.
Okay, hey, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was just good times, you know? I smoked my first cigarette.
Damn.
I had already drank like a little bit because at the lake I would sneak into the cooler and I would like steal a wine cooler. I don't know if you guys remember wine coolers.
Yeah.
I would steal a wine cooler or like a Smirnoff Ice and then I'd get my little sister and I'd be like, come on, Lauren, let's go. And I would make her go with me and we'd go up the sand dune and sit there and like drink it together. So it wasn't even enough to do anything.
No, fuck no.
But it was the sneakiness and like the secret thing, like knowing we got away. And of course that just gradually got more and more.
Right.
And my dad was working a lot. He was a blue collar guy, so he went to work before it was light out, and usually he came home right when it was about to get dark. And so I had a lot of freedom. And he always told me, like, as long as you get straight A's and you're doing like honors classes, you can do whatever you want. You know, like you can go out and have fun. He's like, you just have to be home by like 10 o'clock. Like, so he had pretty reasonable boundaries in the beginning. But what he didn't know was that like I had started hanging out with these kids and it was like going downhill fast.
For sure. And
then it just progressed like it always does, you know, like I'm like trying to get my sister, she moved into the neighborhood and I'm like trying to get her to let us smoke weed. And eventually she's like, shut up, fine. Like I'll let you it's, you know, whatever. Cause she was thinking, I'm sure like, I'd rather you just do it with me than like, whatever.
Out there.
All the things we tell ourselves.
Sure.
And so we smoked weed for the first time, and I didn't get high the first time I did it, and I was like, this is stupid. Like, what, you know? And she would buy us, like, Smirnoff Ices or something like that to watch her kids or whatever. Like, I was always manipulating, too. I was, like, always trying to get what I wanted so that I could stay connected to these friends, right? I wanted to, like, look cool and we would like steal her car when she was sleeping and go joyriding around the neighborhood. We'd take it to the park and then we'd like run around the park and just be crazy. And it was really like looking back, it was kind of just innocent teenager stuff. And it kind of stayed that way for most of my friends. But I ended up getting kicked out of school for weed because I was so dumb. I took weed to school and my friend made me a pipe out of a chapstick container. Oh, wow. Like a chapstick. He put a socket in it and he made like a hole. So it looked like chapstick, but it was actually, you could put a bud in there and smoke it. Okay. And so he gave that to me for my birthday. Wow. And this was when I was just discovering like boys, you know. I was like, first I was like, okay, you can smoke weed. And then I was like, boys. Yeah. And boys really like to smoke weed. So I was like, boom. You know, I don't know.
No, for sure.
So I got caught at school because I was an idiot. And
what, did you try to smoke it and they found you?
No, somebody snitched on me, of course, you know, that's how it goes. All the kids in middle school were pretty good kids. We're like in 7th grade, you know, they're like, most of the kids were like freaked out. They're like, oh my God, she brought drugs to school. Really? You know, it's Utah. Most of these kids are raised Mormon. They're sheltered. Okay. So it was like really bad. And they kicked me out for a very long time. Like they kicked out the other kids. There was 2 other people involved and they got kicked out for 3 months and I got kicked out for 9 months.
Whoa.
Like expelled. Yes. Fuck. Because the girl that told on me got beat up shortly after. Not by me.
By somebody else.
But, you know, I quickly learned that being friends with like all the Mexicans at my school, they were the only real ones, really. Like everyone else was Mormon and judgmental and mean to me. But the Mexican girls, they were not only were they chill and they like to smoke weed, but they were also like protective of me.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome.
Hell yeah.
So really, weed was like the gateway to me fitting in.
Yeah, we'll take care of that snitch for you. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
they did. They literally beat her up in a field, and it caused like a riot. Like all the people started fighting each other because you know. I can't even explain to you how crazy this was. There was a video. It was like MySpace like video.
Hell yeah.
So because of all these messages on MySpace and videos, I ended up. They had like evidence to expel me for 9 months.
You insinuated her right, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they were trying to say. And my dad's like, she's 14 or 13. Like, what? You know? And he was mad. He was very mad that he was, I'm sure, so disappointed. So I got expelled. And during my expulsion, I was only allowed to go to this high school to pick up packets. And then I would do the packets at home. And my dad let me go stay at my sister's because my sister needed help watching her kids anyways. And he was kind of like, I don't know. He didn't know what to do at this point. Like, he had no idea what to do. So and she was very much enabling me to smoke weed and stuff because she, you know, didn't see it as a problem. But obviously she was like, what are you doing? Like, why'd you take it to school? What's wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. I didn't realize it was like, could be like a felony at that point in time. Like in Utah, a felony possession there was no amount of marijuana that could be a felony on your second time. So that time wasn't a felony, but eventually I would get a felony over a weed
Utah
possession.
A conservative state?
It's it's conservative and it's just the laws are very
strict.
strict.
Laws are strict.
Yeah, the laws are strict, but they don't send people to prison as much as they do here, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we love doing that here.
Yeah. So I ended up being expelled and just hanging out at my sister's, watching her kids and smoking weed. And with this came like hanging out with older people and really other girls that I was hanging out with that were my age introduced me to like some boys that were older.
Okay.
Like in high school, like 17, 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And I got I got a boyfriend and he was in this like crew. Okay. It was actually like a gang, but it's not a gang like you think of here. Okay. Not like a gang here. It was like.
Is he an essay?
No, he was white. He was super white, but it was called the Gumby Crew.
Gumby Crew.
How embarrassing! You know the cartoon Gumby. The green, the green guy.
Like that claymation.
Yes. Okay. So this was a group of guys that all tattooed Gumby on themselves.
Oh, dude!
And they started running around calling themselves GXC.
Whoa!
They were registered as a gang.
Really?
In southern Utah.
Really?
Like when we would get pulled over in a car full of us, they would check
the police
people's
where's your tattoo?
The cops in Utah literally thought they were doing something. Like they literally thought they were doing something because they were so bored. Oh, there was like nothing going on.
Yeah. This is a new rising crew.
Yeah, all we were doing was like we would go out to the desert because you can literally drive 5 minutes from your house and get on a dirt road and be in the desert. Yeah. So we'd be like in the desert with sound equipment, a metal band playing and whatever. So I started dating this guy. He was a lead singer of a metal band. I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world.
Sure.
I didn't even like metal, but I was like, I will like metal if it means like this is it. Like I'm going to fit in with all these cool. These guys are like so much older.
Yeah, you're dating the lead singer.
Yes, and they never showered, and they had all these piercings, just straight up dirt bags, dude.
Fuck yeah.
And so also like I have no idea why they were okay with hanging out. I mean, I wasn't like a 14-year-old that looked like a 17-year-old. I was a 14-year-old that looked like a 10-year-old. Like I was I was very underdeveloped, okay? And I didn't really wear a lot of makeup. Like I wasn't like looking back, even finding and seeing pictures of that time, like I look like such a baby. Yeah. But I was hanging out with all these older dudes and
Damn.
And we're smoking weed, and of course they love to come over to my sister's apartment. Yeah. And then the next thing I know, I'm finding out from one of the I don't remember how I found out, but at some point someone told me that everyone was using heroin and like all my friends. And I think they were trying to warn me, and I was like, no, they're not. Yeah. You know, I was like, no, they're not. Yeah, and then once I realized that they were, I was like, well, that's stupid. You guys should just smoke weed and drink brewskis. What do you mean you're doing heroin? Like,
what the fuck?
And also I didn't really understand what heroin was. I knew what meth was because that's what my mom got busted for. And I knew meth was bad and meth equaled prison.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
So I was like, bad. Not
bad.
doing that.
Easy, yeah.
But even with heroin, I was kind of like, that's stupid. Like, why are you doing drugs when you could just like, whatever.
Drink and smoke wood. Yeah.
And eventually I got curious, right? Because when you're around something long enough, you're going to be like, well, why did they like it so much? Whatever. And finally I'm at a party at my boyfriend's house.
The Gumby crew.
At the Gumby, yes. And it was very serious because the sergeants were going to be there.
Oh, wow. Really? Sergeants.
Like, what did we think? Who did we think we were?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know, dude.
I hope one of them listens to this.
Please. I would love to interview them.
They thought they were so cool. So
Fuck yeah.
I guess everybody got addicted to heroin because the people in charge, right?
Yeah.
The two guys that started
Shot
this,
callers.
the shot callers that started this whole shit. They went to Vegas to go pick up some blow,
Okay.
and this was probably like a year or two before I even knew these people. But they had gone to Vegas to pick up some blow. They were just like asking random people on the strip. They ended up meeting a paisa and getting like heroin instead of blow. And they're like, fuck, they're like, send it, let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
So everybody,
totally
so they
drug.
bring it back to a party.
Yeah.
Because we would have, we would have massive parties, like, because we would just go out in the outdoors and have huge parties. So they bring it back, and like, slowly but surely, everybody in that whole group starts to get addicted to heroin.
All right.
And really, somebody should make a documentary about this because it's fascinating because now the whole town's addicted to heroin. But
yeah, just like that.
Yeah, so I'm like hanging out with one of these, my boyfriend's like one of these dudes that was a part of this.
Yeah.
And by the time I realized what's going on, the need for connection and the need to be accepted and loved and get that need met that I hadn't gotten, it became more important to my brain than sticking to like my morals, and obviously as a teenager, you don't have the decision making. You don't have the frontal cortex. You don't even have the part of the brain that can make good decisions yet.
Fuck no.
That's why teenagers are so dumb. It's not their fault.
Yeah. They're underdeveloped.
Yeah, they're underdeveloped. And so I got curious enough and he was like, you're not going to do it. And I was like, I'm going to do it. He's like, you're not going to do it. And then we're having a party at his house. His parents are out of town. They told us we could have a party if we set up the Christmas tree. So that's exactly what we did.
Okay, cool.
And my boyfriend ends up leaving with another dude. And while he's gone, this girl, she's like half nodding out on the patio smoking a cigarette. And she's my friend. And I really want her to like me. And I'm just talking to her. And she's like, you should try it. And I was like, yeah, I should try it. She's like, I'll let you try it. Like, don't even trip. And like, I won't tell so-and-so.
Oh, wow. What a cool
and so I end up doing it in the bathroom. And I walk out of, like, they give me a shot. And these are people. You shot
it up?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. So they give me a shot. And then I walk out of the bathroom door. And I'm like overcome by this like greatest feeling I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
And simultaneously while that's happening, I'm watching this kid like fall to the ground and he's ODing.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm like, everyone's like kind of tripping out, freaking out. And they like get him in the shower and they're, sticking ice cubes up his ass or doing whatever they're doing, right?
The fun tricks that we used to do.
And they got him to like stabilize, I guess, but he was still like very much messed up and like barely breathing. And so it was like my job all night. I made it my job to like lay there next to him and his girlfriend and like make sure he was still breathing because I was so scared he was going to die.
Yeah.
And then the next day I was like, we should do that again. Like that was awesome.
Are you serious?
And my boyfriend was like, did you get loaded? And I was like, no, I'm just on triple C's. Because at the time it was when people were doing triple C's. I don't know. Coricidin, cough and cold medicine. I was like, no, I took triple C's. And he's like, you're full of crap. And then he told me, okay, well, you're only going to get loaded with me now and nobody else. Like, you're.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's like, you're done. Like, he was very controlling, and whatever. He literally controlled everything.
I see. He's a government.
So he was like, you're not going to, he's like, you're not going to be doing that again without me.
Yeah.
And then he played it off like, because I need to like make sure that you're safe. And that you're doing it right, And that was kind of the start of of how my relationships were going to kind of go
codependent.
Yeah, codependent, and just like being with people when I was that young. I was seeking out like people that I thought had power or protection over me, like that could, But also, it was always like dirtbags. And this dude definitely, he was at this point, he was deep in addiction. And I was just starting, right? Like I was in the good part where nothing's wrong. You don't have withdrawals yet.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even need like that much to get loaded. Like you literally are in the happy phase where
10, 20
everyone's just scratching each other's backs and like hanging out, you know, and just chilling.
For sure.
We were like a little heroin community, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one dude would go down to Vegas and then he'd come back and he'd pull out all the balloons out of his pocket, you know. And if you've never bought heroin like in a balloon, like that's how they sell it in Vegas, like from the Pisces. It's like so it was just like it was like the good part for me at that point. I thought everything was fine.
It's all fun.
And then he ended up getting busted at school because he was a senior and he was going to the school where I was picking up my packets.
Okay.
And I had gone back to school at this point, and when I went back to school, they were like, do you want to do honors classes again? Which is, so they don't offer, like when you get kicked out of the Gates program, they don't let you back into it. Like when you get kicked out for drugs, they don't let you back in, but they offered me a spot back in the program, and I literally was like, no.
What?
Because I knew that I would not be able to keep up with the work and use and hang out with my friends. I knew that because when you're in that type of program, you're doing, by 8th, 9th grade, you're doing like college level work. You're doing extensive, you're going to graduate high school with an associate's degree.
I see.
And it's a gift. It's for gifted people, you know, like I'm like intellectually, mentally gifted, but I see, but in all the other ways, totally messed up.
Yeah, I get book smart's good, but
book smart and maybe a little street smart, but also
but the life choices not so great.
Not so good. Too smart for my own good because I was always trying to manipulate, and that's what it was. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then of course I lied to my dad. I never told him. Mm-hmm. You know, I was never like, yeah, they want me to do the honors classes again. I just never said anything.
For sure, I wouldn't either.
And so homeboy gets busted, and he calls me, and he's like, yo, like the school cop like saw my track marks, and he's gonna, like, I'm about to get busted, and I think my parents might call your school or something because they knew I was his girlfriend. Yeah. And I panicked and just like decided, okay, I'm gonna go into the school counselor's office and I'm gonna act like I want help. Mm-hmm. That's like I'm just going to get ahead of it so it doesn't look so bad. Because I was still on probation for the weed. Oh, okay. And I had to do like work crew hours and all this. Really? Oh, my God. The work crew there was so brutal. Anyways, I go to the counselor and I'm like, I need help. And this probably blew his damn mind. Can you imagine being a school counselor at a middle school with 13 and 14-year-olds and some little tiny girl walks into your office and is like, I need help. And you're probably thinking like, oh, she's having like a boyfriend issue or she's having like, and she's like, I've been shooting heroin and I don't know what to do. Whoa. Yeah. And you know what he did? What? He gave me a pamphlet for Narcotics Anonymous. Really? Yes. And that's and that is my first introduction to NA. Wow. He handed me a pamphlet. It was the the green one, the Young for Teens one. Yeah. And he gave me a meeting schedule and he said, wow. He said, we're going to call your dad. And I said, can we call my sister? Uh-huh. And so he said, okay. And we called my sister because I was like so afraid to tell my dad. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And he's like, I think you need to go to one of these meetings. And I did because I wanted to be able to show my probation officer, like, it must be hereditary, like trying to get over on the system because I was already trying to get over. Like I knew exactly what I needed to do. So I go to a meeting. My sister actually took me to a meeting right after we smoked a fat bong load. And we go to the meeting and I'm sitting there, and in Utah, this area of Utah is a very small fellowship. It's a lot bigger now. Oh, okay. They actually have a convention now, which is great. We should all go to one sometime. That'd be fun to like roll out and like support the convention. Yeah, absolutely. But at this time it was so small. And so I'm sitting in the meeting and I'm looking around and it's just like all these old people. I'm like 14 years old. Okay. I'm like, no young people of NA. No, it was so, and I was like, this is so weird. And also when you're stoned, things are just weird anyways. For sure. Yeah. But I went and I got the paper signed and then I like told my PO and I told my dad, and my dad was pissed. He was like, I can't imagine. 'Cause like, I don't know, just, he was an adult, you know, so he understood the ramifications of like somebody shooting heroin, like he's older and his generation, he probably knew maybe one or two heroin addicts his whole life. Right. Okay. Like, whereas like our generation, we see it everywhere because it's an epidemic. Yeah. But true. He was, and I didn't care. Like, I was just, my whole thing was like, what do I got to do to get this done so that I can get back to like what I want to be doing? Right. So they put me in an alternative program, which was where I would go to groups for the first half of the day. And then at the same place, I would do school. Okay. So it was like an outpatient / school. Okay. And I was in that program for a long time. And then I was violating always. I was always trying to get, I would use like, I would wait till Friday. I would get loaded right after school on Friday. I would do one shot. Well, yeah. And then I would usually also drink. And then I would just stop. And then Monday, I would drink tons of water. I would take vitamins to make my pee yellow.
Oh, okay.
And then I would like whatever. And the tests they were doing were just dipsticks, so they had it was easy to like get them to pass.
Oh, okay.
For me, also I'm very small and like fast metabolism.
Oh yeah, perfect.
So I was manipulating the heck out of them.
Yeah,
and
24 hours you get that out of you.
And I also I kept going to meetings, right, because it looked good, and there was a boy there.
Oh,
and
nice.
he was actually not a boy; he was a man. And it's really unfortunate because like this type of stuff does happen all the time. But like he was 22 years old.
Okay.
I was
young.
I had just turned 15. He was at my 15th birthday party.
Oh,
it was an NA birthday party at a pool. They
threw a party for you.
Yeah, like I had a sponsor. Even though we didn't do anything, she just wanted a little roll dog.
Hey,
she wanted somebody to hang out with.
Well, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she was still tweaking anyways. But anyways, he was at the party and he also looking back, like he was a predator. He was I don't know if I would say he's a pedophile or what, but he definitely like how it started was he would talk to me after the meetings and he would give me cigarettes.
Yeah.
And obviously anyone that's going to give me cigarettes, I'm a fan of. Thank you. And then he was like, do you want to go shoot some hoops or play basketball? And I used to shoot hoops like every day. Like I live next door to a basketball court.
So it didn't feel
love
weird.
basketball. Yeah, I was like, let's shoot some hoops, you know? And I kind of like was like, oh, like he's cute. Yeah. Because he was. Like he was 22. He was in his prime.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I didn't understand really what was going on. And so we were just hanging out and like shooting hoops. And then he had like an apartment. He was in drug court. So for real. This fool was in drug court. Okay. And
he was kind of
yes. But at the time, I saw an apartment, a car, a truck, a way to get out to the lake. I saw
he had it going on.
He had it going on, yeah. And we started dating or whatever. He kind of like, I feel like now looking back, I'm like he did like groom me and manipulate me into that relationship.
Yeah, that happens.
And unfortunately that just happened a lot. And it sucks because it's almost normalized too in the using culture for it's like okay.
Oh yeah.
But there were people at NA. Looking back, it's so funny because one day I went out on the patio to smoke a cigarette, which there was a sign that said no underage smoking, and I would sit right under the sign and I would smoke.
Yeah.
And there was this guy named, I'm not gonna say his name, but we'll just call him Dan. There was this guy named Dan, and he was like this big fat biker guy.
Okay.
And he was sitting next to me. He's like, who keeps giving you those cigarettes? Like he didn't like that. Yeah. And then he started having a problem with the dude that I was seeing. And the dude that I was seeing started being like, let's sit separate at the meeting. Like you sit over there, I'll sit over there. Okay. And like, let's leave it. Like you like go out and then I'll go out. And and I was like, okay, whatever. And I thought it was just because he wanted to like keep it on the down low, but really it was because I was so young. But I was
it's a bad look.
I was young enough that I didn't even know that that's why he wanted to do that. I thought
we were scared to go to prison.
Yeah. Or violate like for drug court to find out
and be a sex offender.
Yes, exactly. And it was just, he taught me how to drive. Like I don't know, we had a whole ass thing going on, and he was very manipulative, like the same. And this was only my second like relationship, and I was so easily manipulated because I wasn't just young, but I was seeking that connection, right? Sure, and I wanted to be independent, even though I was so far from being ready. Yeah. And so I spent a lot of time with him, and I would tell my dad I was at my sister's, and I'd like tell my sisters I'm at my dad's or whatever. Mm-hmm. I spent tons of time with him. And eventually I get caught at school. I walked in one day. I walk in one day and there's a cop in the lobby, and this is like a mental health place. So I walk in, and I'm like putting my stuff down. I walk out of the room to see where everybody's at, and I see a cop, and he's like, "Are you Miss Bayless?" And I was like, dang it. I already knew.
Yeah.
And so he arrested me, and he arrested me for contempt of court because I had violated and failed a drug test because they started sending my tests to the lab, and I didn't know. And so they were looking for proof because they knew something was going on.
Sure.
And I had the most amazing counselors. It was 2 counselors that worked there that ran the program. A dude, and it was a dude and this lady, and they were the best. Yeah. They would take us on Fridays if we were good all week. They would take us like on the boat to go wakeboarding. Oh, cool. At the lake. Like they were chill, and they would take us for ice cream. They literally did such an amazing job as counselors, and I'm so grateful that they sent me to treatment. And that's what happened. I got sent to treatment. Oh, okay. And I sat in youth lockup for months. I think it was like 4 or 5 months it took them to get me. Yeah, to get me
rehab.
like a detention facility, like jail for
like a
kids.
jail. Okay, got
and
it.
then I went to treatment, and I did the short-term program at treatment. I came back. I was terrified. Like, I knew I wasn't ready. Because once I was in treatment and the drugs were out of my system and I had gone through the withdrawals, I actually started to, like, want to be clean.
Yeah.
But it was just, I was so scared to go back to St. George and back to the same situation, right back into the outpatient school.
Yeah.
But I had to. Like, I didn't have a choice. The state was only going to fund short-term treatment, which was 45 days at that time.
Okay.
So they sent me home, and it wasn't even 6 months, and I started using again. And this time, I really, like, spun out of control. Like, I smoked crack for the first time.
God damn.
Yeah, I was 16. Doing all kinds of other drugs, just, you know, whatever I could get away with, and still trying to pass drug tests and get away with it. And
Sure.
obviously it didn't take them very long to catch me.
They figured out.
And then the same thing happened again. I had to go to detention and be locked up. And then I went back to the same treatment program up north.
Yeah.
And I ended up being there for 13 months.
Damn.
And that was a behavior mod program. And it was
Oh,
very
no shit.
similar. It's the same treatment model that Crash used to have.
Oh, is it the Phoenix House?
No, it's called Odyssey House, but it's similar. It's
Very similar. Okay.
very behavior mod, and the clients run the program. It's a level system. You have to work.
Social mod too?
You have to work your way up.
Yeah.
You get in there, and your main person is like a senior level resident, and they search your
Oh.
stuff, and they.
That's kind of like Mexico. They do that
Yeah,
in
it's
Mexico.
structured. The clients run the program. Like
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
walk in, the front desk, it's a client working at the front desk. It's like
Yeah.
their turn to do that job.
Oh wow.
So my job was to run the kitchen.
Oh fuck yeah.
I did that for like 8 months, and I killed it. That's why I know how to cook now. But I
That's right.
also got very controlling in there. So my therapist
Oh.
was like, "You're not doing this anymore.
Oh really?
You're gonna work. You need to focus on treatment." And while I was there, they didn't connect me to 12-step programs. They didn't have
Yeah.
any spiritual component.
Yeah, behavior's not really like that. Behavior mods.
No. But what it did do was it literally changed my behavior. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, minus any spiritual component. So
Got
I
it.
learned
Okay.
how to wake up, make my bed, and show up every day and do what I need to do, regardless of how I feel. I learned how to encounter other people and tell them how I feel.
Yeah.
I just learned so much there. And
Yeah.
my therapist was amazing. She was in recovery. She literally got her master's degree while she was on heroin, which is crazy. Which was crazy. She told me that.
That's pretty impressive.
While I was there, my mom went back to prison. She had gotten out. The
shit,
first time
really?
I was in treatment, she got out of prison.
Yeah.
And she came to the same treatment program, but in the adult program down the street.
Okay.
So she would come visit me. And so I had this idea
Wow.
that everything was going to be better.
Yeah, you're both gonna be.
And then
doing
she
good.
went back to the small town with my stepdad and all that.
Yeah.
And then I did my thing. I ended
Yeah.
up back in treatment. And while I'm in treatment the long time,
Yeah.
she ends up going back to prison.
Wow.
Which was devastating to me because I had thought she was doing well. And
Sure.
how I felt was always very tied up into how she was doing. And it was something that I worked on a lot. And so when my therapist pulled me in and told me, you know, hey, your mom went back to prison, I just want to let you know she was just doing a 90-day flash, but she had to go back to the federal prison to do it.
Yeah, that's what they used to do.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And
Yeah.
she's like, really? Okay. She's like, and I had this thing, and sometimes I still do, where I don't look at my life or like my trauma that it's like really bad or severe. Like at that time I was like, it's whatever, you know, it is what it is. Even though internally I probably was having a lot of emotions, but I was really good at disassociating and just being like, no, like it's not a big deal. There's kids here whose parents are dead. There's people here. I was really good at looking at other people and being like, their situation is so much worse.
Right.
It's fine. And she had to be like, this is trauma. This is bad. This is very upsetting. This should, like, she was trying to help me connect my mind to my heart.
Yeah.
And so she did help me do that. And I was able to like go through some grief and stuff. And eventually I got out of there. And I remember they do like a walking off the curb ceremony when you graduate. They do a whole thing. When you graduate, you have to do a graduation book where you write like your life story. You write about everything you learned. You write it, like you
shit.
do all the stuff. You present it to all of the people that work there.
Yeah.
It is a huge deal when you
Yeah,
graduate because
yeah.
not that many people make it to graduate.
Or
It
13 months,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a long time. And so I walked off that curb for graduation just like so excited.
Yeah.
I was going to live with a family in Salt Lake City where I was because I didn't want to go home and I wasn't quite old enough to go to transitional living. So I went to live with a family. So it's kind of like foster care, but proctor care.
Okay.
So I was going to live with this family and I was really excited about it. And I leave there and I go to live with this family, and I realize very quickly that I made like a huge mistake because it was obvious so fast that they just wanted the money. They just wanted the $800 a month that the state would give them.
Got it.
They didn't help me get a phone. They wouldn't buy me laundry detergent.
Really?
They wouldn't help me get a bus pass.
What?
They wouldn't do anything to help me. And I was starting at this point. I started having panic attacks for the first time in my life. So at this point, I'm like, I think I'm like almost 17, or I just turned 17, and I'm like starting to have panic attacks. My mom at this point had gotten out, was back home. She helped me get a phone.
Okay.
I got a little job at Subway. I started doing the thing. But these panic attacks kept happening. And not only that, like I couldn't click into the support through the aftercare. Like I was going to the aftercare once a week.
Yeah.
But people were like judging me for smoking cigarettes. And I'm
Really?
like,
What
they're
the
like,
fuck?
you're in relapse behavior because you're smoking cigarettes.
What?
And I'm like,
What?
literally, I always had planned to smoke cigarettes again.
Right.
And most of them smoke cigarettes too. They were like, but you're underage. And
That's
for
fucking
me,
stupid.
yeah. So that's how I
Fuck
felt.
them.
I felt like that. So I stopped going to the aftercare because I was like, I'm not going to go and sit here and just be judged.
Yeah.
I was going to meetings, but of course I met a boy at a meeting.
Yeah, there you go.
And we started having this relationship once again.
Okay.
He's 24 years old.
24?
I'm 16.
Oh, shit.
16, 17.
Fuck.
Like, I don't know what's wrong with people, but this is just the reality of what I went through.
Right.
He is, trying to, whatever. He's being like, come here, go away. So he'd be like, super nice to me. He'd be nice to me and want to date me or hang out with me. And then 2 days later, it would be like, I can't talk to you. Like, you're a newcomer, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And so this relationship was very tumultuous and rocky, and being clean for the first time truly, and trying to actually do NA for the first time truly, I just was struggling. And like, I had a sponsor, but she was only like 18. And so like she was more of like just the homie, you know?
Right.
And she would get really mad at me. Like anytime I would go hang out with him, she would just be pissed and like not talk to me for a long time. But it was weird, and I started getting turned off of going to my regular meetings because I didn't want to see this. I didn't want to deal with this and see this guy.
The guy.
And so I'm hanging out with guys at work that I work with. I'm the only girl that works there. It was me and these two other dudes, and we basically ran this Subway downtown, and it's one of the busiest Subway stores. Like,
oh, really?
Yes, like line out the door all the time.
Oh, shit.
But we start hanging out, and like they're super fun. They're smoking weed out of a cucumber in the basement.
Out of a cucumber.
You know, it was
Nice.
such a good time.
Yeah.
It's the good times again.
Good
you know,
times, good
like
times.
they introduced me to their friend that's a graffiti. Well, they're all graffiti artists, but they introduced me to this kid that was like is an amazing graffiti artist, and I just was like, oh my gosh, he is like he is so amazing.
Cool.
But he also like had a girlfriend and like a baby mama and all of these things.
Oh, wow, really?
Right? And so I'm falling back in the same pattern of like choosing, you know, trying to seek connection, but choosing the wrong people.
Sure.
And these guys were great though. They like we would go give out all the extra cookies and bread at the end of the night. We'd go, they would skateboard and like give it out to the homeless. And then we'd go like they do graffiti, and I would hang out and like we'd just run around and they would skateboard. It was like fun until I took the first drink again.
Oh,
and then once I started drinking again, like which we have no mental defense against the first drink. If you're not working a program and you're not spiritually fit, then eventually the time will come when you want the drink, it's offered to you, and you will not say no. And that's where I was at. Like the first few times I was like, no, I don't drink. No, I don't smoke weed. And then it became like, oh, I'll just do a shot or two.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do this. And then I started to smoke again, and very quickly things just got chaotic. And like the people I was living with, they didn't give me any accountability. Like, I don't know how they could have a teenager living in their home like that and not even acknowledge me when I would walk in. Like, not even, it was like I wasn't even there. And I had my own room because they had to give me my own room. But it was just a weird situation. And I kept getting myself into weirder and weirder situations. And I'm living in this big city. I'm going to community college. I'm working at Subway. I'm taking the bus and the train everywhere. And like eventually that stuff catches up to me, like mentally. And I'm still having like panic attacks sometimes, not knowing like what was coming. And so I ended up calling my stepdad. I called my caseworker. And I was like, am I done yet? Like, I just did 13 months in treatment. I've been out for like 6 months, like doing good. Obviously, I was not doing good.
No.
She's like, yeah, I'll sign you off paper. Just come down here when you come down and I'll sign you off. And I even have a box of stuff for you that like will help you get started if you get an apartment. which was really cool. I was like, that's really nice of you.
Yeah.
So I called my stepdad and I was like, can you come get me? And he drove all the way to Salt Lake, which was like 5 hours, to come pick me up in his truck and load all my shit up. I didn't say goodbye to those people.
Yeah.
I probably should have, even though they were whatever.
Yeah.
I just left and I went back. Instead of going back to St. George where my dad lived and where I used, I went back to my mom's house. And that was like not a good idea, you know?
No.
Not a good idea to be back in the house where so much things happened.
Sure.
And also just like my parents were trying to assert like an authority over me, but at that point I'm like, I have been independent for a long time.
Yeah,
like
you're
you guys
almost an adult now.
Yeah, you guys are trying to tell me what to do.
Way too late.
Way too late. And I ended up getting into another relationship with somebody much older than me.
Oh, okay.
And
you're still a minor?
And I'm still a minor. Well, yeah, I'm still a minor. I think I was still like barely 17. And this guy was 27.
Oh, God.
I know. And it makes me sick to my stomach. Like I obviously it wasn't on me because I didn't know better. I was young, but it makes me sick to my stomach thinking about my daughter in this world, you know, like I pray to God that like I can raise her with some morals and values where she knows that something like that is not okay. That just because a man speaks to you in a nice way or because he picks you up and takes you on a date and he whatever seems like a man, it doesn't mean that it's like appropriate. Like if I would have just been hanging out with people my age, I probably would have been never would have got addicted to heroin, honestly.
Maybe not, yeah.
So that went south and then how much time do we have? Are we
we're
going on a
good.
time
Just
limit?
keep going.
Okay, I just want because I'm getting very detailed into my history. I usually don't go this deep into like everything, but
But
no, it's just what's coming up is coming up, and that's what's gonna. I don't know if you're still here listening. What's up? It's like whatever God wants to come out of my mouth will come out. So I ended up re-meeting. So there was this guy. And he was the kid in school when I was growing up in elementary school. He was like the kid that everybody knew was the bad kid. Like he was like the really bad kid. He was like a grade or two above me.
Okay.
His family was very troubled. My family was very troubled. Our family sometimes partied together. But he was like known as like the bad seed. Yeah. Okay. I like re-met him at this time. So I'm like 17. I'm living back with my parents. My other sister is managing a coffee shop at this point. Yeah. The only coffee shop in town. And so I start working there and things are going well. Okay. I'm still drinking. So like I'm not drinking alcoholically at this point. I'm doing some controlled drinking.
I got you. Yeah.
Where I'm like
a lady.
Only drinking after work like a lady. Like only like the small bottle of Jaeger inside of a you know those big mugs from the gas station? Inside one of those. And then a Monster or a Red Bull.
For sure.
Yeah. That was my get down. But I re-meet this guy and we'll call him Tony. I don't like to put people on blast because I really don't. Totally. I really do forgive these people. Like it's not, all of us are just doing, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. So I meet Tony and we hit it off and we start hanging out and we're like, we're going to get out of this town. We're going to like whatever. And so the goal was for me, I had taken a semester off. The goal was for me to start again in January back to college at Dixie State University. Now it's called Utah Tech. Okay. Or something like that. Utah University, St. George. I don't know. Okay. So I told him, I'm like, look, like you could come with me and like I'll go to school and you can get a job. Kind of like that one song, you know? That's like, there's like a song about that. But anyways, I'm like, you can get a job and I'll go to school and it'll be cool. And so I hit up my dad and my dad's like, yeah, you can live here. I have to go work out of state. My dad was at this point working union. So he had to go far, like, I think he had to go up north to work for a long time. So he's like, you guys live here, take care of the plants, take care of the animals, paint my porch. He wanted the porch painted. Oh, okay. Easy task, right? Sure. It never got done.
Easy task that didn't get done.
And I was like, sweet. And so this dude, Tony, he's already showing major red flags, and I am completely ignoring them. Like like one day he was supposed to show up to start working at the coffee shop because I got him a job there. Okay. He doesn't show up. So he tells me he's at a job interview at McDonald's. So I hop in the truck. I'm like, I'll be right back. I hop in the truck. I go over in my sister's truck. I go over to McDonald's. He ain't there. He ain't never been there. He don't have an interview there. And so then I go driving back to the coffee shop. I'm pissed. I see him walking down the street. Yeah. Drunk as a skunk. Wow. And I pick him up and I proceed to like say everything I think I need to say to
Sure.
get this dude to straighten up, right? I'm
Right.
you're not going to come with me if you don't like knock it off, like blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
Then he goes to jail like a couple days later. I get my boss that owns the coffee shop to bail him out. Just all these red flags, right? But I wanted connection, and he was giving me that emotional connection, even though he was doing all these things. It was like, once something hits your emotions, your needs like that, your childhood needs, it's almost like all bets are off. Everything else doesn't matter.
Right.
Red flags, all that stuff, it's irrelevant because you're getting that need met.
Yeah.
And he was meeting that need because he was very like telling me how beautiful I was and how amazing I was and all of these things. He was like he was very like emotional to me and very, I don't know, there's a lot of things that like drew me in.
Sure.
And so we ended up moving to my dad's still. Everybody in the whole town was like, this is a horrible idea. Like I even had people like hit me up and be like, why are you dating him?
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
What
And
are
I
you
was
doing?
like, don't hate him just because he's not Mormon and he grew up poor.
That's totally it. That's totally
Like,
it.
you know, whatever.
For sure.
And I was just happy to not be on heroin. Like, I was just like, you know, I'm doing
Right.
pretty good. Like, I'm working, I'm drinking
Right.
sometimes, I'm smoking a little weed here and there, but
Okay.
like, we're doing good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never going to do heroin again.
For
That's
sure.
what I was thinking.
For sure.
And that's what I told him. I said, look, you can smoke all you want and we can drink all we want, but I cannot do hard drugs. And when school starts, I have to stop smoking weed because I
Okay.
know how hard college is and I need to be able to focus.
Right.
And he's like, of course, like I'll support you in anything you do.
Yeah.
So we go live at my dad's and the semester starts. I don't quit smoking weed.
No.
I'm doing horrible in school. I'm barely hanging on by a thread. The
Got it.
porch never got painted.
He
He never got a job. He, little did I know that he's like consistently getting worse and worse in his own like addiction. Like I'm
Right.
pretty sure he was
Progressive.
using meth for a long time secretly. I don't know how long.
I see.
But
Just didn't catch him.
no, like I wasn't even, that wasn't even on my radar
See.
because we were like drinking, we
Yeah.
were doing ecstasy,
Yeah.
we were doing bath salts a lot, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Spice.
that. I remember
we were
Spice.
doing all kinds of stuff.
Oh, fuck
And
yeah.
honestly, it was really bad. All that stuff was very bad for me because eventually when this relationship got so toxic,
Yeah.
it became the traumatic event that happened that like released the bipolar gene in me. So for
I
those
got
of
it.
you that don't know, like people carry the genetics for schizophrenia or bipolar. It's passed down through your family.
Yeah.
Not everybody will experience the sickness because it has to be brought out. And sometimes it's like your environment. It's like drugs. It's
I see.
even like a car accident could trigger
I
somebody's schizophrenia to come
I
out
see.
or bipolar. So at this time,
sort of like addiction in a way.
yeah, exactly. And so we went through a gnarly breakup. He just became super crazy and abusive, and the cops would get called a lot to my house,
Yeah.
and he'd go to jail and I would bail him out
Yeah.
multiple times. I used student loan money to bail him out. I used my student loan money to go to Vegas and just party because he'd be like, yeah, let's go to Vegas. We're only going to spend like $500 and then we'd spend like $2,000 of my money. And we thought
Right.
we were like, living it up, but really we were just like,
Fuck it off.
yeah. And we were doing a lot of psychedelics like mushrooms, mescaline,
yeah.
ecstasy. Like, so we were just partying a lot. And that obviously the connection to him and to the friends we were hanging out with, that was like so important to me. People would always be at my dad's house with us smoking weed.
Yeah.
And I just felt so important and whatever. But when it all became so toxic, like at first I couldn't get out of it. Like I would try, like one time I bailed him out and I had my friend actually pawned her laptop to get money to bail him out, which was like, I don't know why she did that, but
Yeah.
I went to go pick him up
Yeah.
and he comes storming out of the jail, like out of the door, walks right past me, doesn't even say hi to me. He's mad because
What?
it was us that got in a fight that got him into jail. It was a domestic violence. But I'm like coming to pick you up.
Right.
dude.
You bailed him.
And he like storms out and he's all super mad at me. And,
Really?
and I was just like, you know what? I'm done. And I like,
Wow.
instead of turning left to go home, I turned right to go towards Kanab, the town he's from. And I was like, I'm just going to take you back where you came from. Like, you need to go back to your
Whoa.
parents. Like, I
Okay.
can't do this.
Go back to your parents.
And then he turned into, no, like, please, I'm going to change,
Oh
yada,
my
yada. So we
God.
did that a few times. And then eventually, thank God, he went to jail for a long enough period. Like, they would not let me bail him out, and I didn't have any way to bail him
I
out,
see. I
that
see.
I was finally done.
A boundary from the law.
Yes, I was finally done. And so I packed his stuff. I took
Yeah.
it over to his uncle's.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done with you. And I started going to bonfire parties and like
Okay.
hanging out with people,
Yeah.
beer pong, and we would have ragers and
Yeah.
keggers and
Yeah.
so many fun parties, right? But as this is happening, like those panic attacks, I've continued to have like anxiety attacks like that. And I started getting manic, but like slowly.
Yeah.
And so it took a little while, but like because I really think like the trauma from him and then also smoking weed like brought the bipolar out.
Yeah, right.
And I started to get manic and more manic, and then the next thing I knew, I was like in a psychosis, just
Really?
full blown psychosis.
Really?
It started out with me like flipping out on people at parties. Like if someone changed a song or something, I would like fist fight them.
Oh my God.
I tried to beat up a grown ass man, and he tried to beat me up too. And then it was a whole drama, and we couldn't be at the same party for a while. It was like a whole thing.
Right.
And I was going back and forth between like anger, like that, like rage, and then full blown like emotional crying and breakdown. But what I thought was going on was that I was just going through this really gnarly breakup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm trying to deal with it by partying. And I'm like, I'm just like, and also I'm not eating really. Like I'm literally drinking nonstop.
Yeah.
Like I would have to wake up in the middle of the night to drink a beer or a shot because I'd be shaking. Like I would wake up shaking.
I see.
And I'm still not doing like hard drugs anymore. Like I'm just like smoking weed and drinking, but my mental health is deteriorating. And I started to get more and more just manic. I mean, it's hard to explain it unless you like been around somebody, but like you start to talk faster, you start to talk louder, you start to just like be the most. And then it keeps going. And if it keeps going, the person ends up in a psychosis. So I ended up in a psychosis where I was going in and out of jail, in and out of hospitals between like St. George, Cedar City, Mesquite, Vegas. Yeah. At one point, I was I went to jail in Mesquite, Nevada, and because it was a felony, because I had I think I stole a car or I stole goods or something. Yeah. It was a blurry time. Yeah. But I went to jail there, and because it was a felony, they had to send me to the CCDC in Vegas, which is the county jail in downtown Vegas. It's literally the scariest place I've ever been. And while I was in there, I was completely psychotic too. I had a delusion I was pregnant. Like I thought I was pregnant the whole time. Really? I thought I just thought all these crazy things. I had a lot of delusions going on. I also was having this major spiritual connection thing happening where like I was really connected to God. Like I was seeing auras around people. Oh, I was able to feel other people's emotions really strongly. Like I was like, it was wild. It was so wild. And I could do a whole freaking episode about that whole mania. Just that. But how it ended after all these crazy things happening, bouncing around, my family just thought I was like strung out on uppers or something. Right, they didn't know. Like they knew something was wrong, but they didn't understand that I was like mentally sick. Like even when my sister picked me up from the hospital one time and was like, yes, I'll make sure she makes it to like a psych eval on Monday. She couldn't handle me from Friday to Monday because I was being that crazy. Like I left her house to go on a walk and ended up drunk on Jello shots with a tattoo. That's where this came from.
Oh, fuck. What does it say?
It says none. I
none?
Had, okay. I had fear, none.
Oh,
I let some guy. Fear. Yeah, I covered it with someone's name, and then I had to cover that person's name. It's been a tough life, dude.
Yeah, oh my God.
Anywho.
Great cover-up tattoo, though.
Thank you. I ended up going to jail finally in St. George. The name of the jail was Purgatory, which I think is so funny because it was purgatory for me. Yeah. I go to this jail and I'm finally locked up long enough that they can force me to take medication. And I was there for 8 months and I was in solitary the whole time.
Wow.
Solitary in a cell, but I got to go out and then there'd be people.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. But still, I was in a cell for a long time. And during that time, I was doing a lot of reading. Mm-hmm. I read tons of the Bible. And obviously didn't have much of a connection to it. Didn't really understand, because until you have the Holy Spirit, you're not gonna see what you need to see in the Bible or whatever. That's like a whole thing. Yeah, I was like reading it like a book, and also not knowing like where to start or what to do. So I did that, and then I would read other books, and I would do yoga, and I would work out, and I actually dislocated a rib. Like working out, and when I pressed the button to tell them something's wrong, I thought I was having like a heart attack because it hurt so bad. They wouldn't even come because I had falsely pressed the button so many times when I was psychotic. That they were like, Bayless, we know what you're up to. Wow. I flooded the whole jail one time. Wow. When I was in psychosis. Flooded? You know those sprinklers that are on top of the roof? Yeah. So I thought that there was cockroaches coming out of them. Oh, so I went up with a spork and I popped it off.
Oh, fuck.
and it sent the whole sprinkler system in the entire like medical intake of the jail.
Wow.
And then I was, the little boat beds that are on the floor. I was sitting in my boat. There was water all over the floor, like inches. And I had my blanket wrapped around my face.
God.
And the sergeant comes up to the door and is like, God damn it, Bayless, I knew you were going to do something like this. Because I was so psychotic, and I would go in and out of that jail. Like, I would literally be in there, like, no clothes on, dancing around in a cell. Like, I was so out of my mind. There was times when I didn't know my own name, where I didn't know where I was, where I would, because I wasn't sleeping.
Sure.
Okay, so and I was also not eating, and so it was just
malnourished.
I was malnourished and really sick. So they kept me in there long enough, finally, for me to start to get better. I finally agreed with the courts, like with the judge, that I would take medication. I would get an eval. I would take medication. Yeah. I started taking a low dose of a mood stabilizer, and it literally leveled me and made me normal within like a week. It was crazy. I went from like full blown psychosis to like normal.
No shit.
And now I'm in jail behind a door, and I'm realizing, because I can remember everything that happened. Yeah. But when it was happening, it was like,
it's like,
who is this? You know?
Yeah.
And so I was in there, and I like lost it. Like I lost my ever loving mind. Like I hurt my foot just like kicking the crap out of the door. I was like screaming, crying, like, because it was like everything hit me all at once. And then from there, it was kind of like building my way back up to being normal again. Right. Or whatever normal is, right? But there was some women in there that tried to help me, and it was like, it was a journey. So I was in there for quite a while, like 8 months was a minute. Yeah. And by the time I got out, I was like stable. I was like ready to just, whatever. And I went back to my dad's house, and my dad really had no idea like what to do with me. Like he did not understand. Like he just thought it was just the drugs. He's like, you just need to stop doing drugs.
For sure.
And at this point, it's like it wasn't just the drugs anymore. Like now I have like this like thing that I have to take care of myself. And it's been literally this entire time, all the way to now, a journey of figuring out how to like live with bipolar and how to not look at it as a mental illness, but look at it as I'm somebody that has, I'm neurodivergent. I have a different brain. Like my brain thinks differently, and I go in ups and downs, and I can navigate that. Like it's a strength. Yeah. If I look at it that way. Okay. As long as I'm taking care of myself, right? If I were to just stop going to bed and like whatever, I could send myself into another dimension. And sometimes it's not a good dimension, you know? Yeah, right. But during that mania, like during the psychosis, I did feel the presence of Jesus and connect with like what I was calling Jesus energy a lot. Okay. But I didn't like come out of it being like, oh, I'm into Jesus now, or I'm into God now. Yeah. Like I came out of it like, how am I going to get my life? Like, how am I going to get my life back together? Because everything is broken. Right. And so I started doing that. I started getting my life back together, and I still was getting into toxic relationships. That wasn't different, but I was going to court on a regular basis. It was kind of like drug court, but it was mental health court. So it was
mental health diversion type of thing,
something like that. But instead of like if I did the program, which could be even up to 3 years long or longer, I would get my charges dropped. Okay, cool. So I was doing that, and it didn't take me long to discover that they weren't really drug testing. That when they would drug test me, it was just the therapist would have you go in a bathroom and give you a cup, right? So as soon as I figured that out, I was like, oh, cool, I can like drink. And it always starts with a drink for me. Alcohol has always been the thing. I see. And so I started drinking again, but I was like chilling. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was just trying to like get back on my feet, get a little job. And at some point I got into another relationship with a guy that was a Marine, and he was suffering from PTSD, which I didn't even know. I didn't know any of this language back then, right?
No,
I had no idea. I thought he was just angry. I'm like, when he gets mad, he gets real mad. And so that was really toxic very quickly. Like it went so quickly, and I ended up getting pregnant and having an abortion, and it was super hard for me. Like I was finally like stable. I was working full time at Carl's Jr. It was a brand new Carl's Jr. though. I was like, I was the first employee. So wow! It was. I was loving it. I was living a good life. I was like, whatever. And this dude lived in Salt Lake, so he would come down and see me and then go away, and it was cool. Yeah. But after it ended up being so toxic, and I'm like, I can't be with this person. And I ended up deciding to get an abortion.
Okay.
A decision I now like regret, and I would never do it again. But I did do that, and as a result, like he just left it at that. He was like, okay, cool, it's done, it's taken care of, whatever. Yeah. But for me, not being able to really connect my head to my feelings and stuff, the painkillers that they gave me, I just didn't stop. Like I did the ones they gave me, and then I bought some on the street, and then it was like very quick that I was like smoking Oxy, smoking Roxy's, and thinking that this isn't as bad as me shooting heroin. Right. As long as I'm not shooting heroin, everything is going to be fine.
Harm reduction.
Harm reduction, yeah. And I ended up, my dad is like, whatever, you're just doing the same shit. He was like always mad because I'd always be leaving. But I couldn't sit still. I could never just sit at home. I couldn't just like sit in my room and hang out. I didn't want to just sit there and watch TV. Like I always wanted to be out like doing stuff. That's just part of how I am. Even today I have to like make myself rest. Yeah. And so that was like a traumatic thing that happened that I brushed off as like not traumatic, right? Like I was just like, it is what it is, thinking like, oh, I did the right thing or whatever. But really like I was very upset about it and didn't know how to deal with it. And so I resorted to right back to opiates, which is what has always worked. Right. And then I just started the journey, like the longest run, before like it was like the beginning of the end. Sure. It took years, but I moved out. I ended up getting in a relationship, moving out into my first like house with somebody. They cheated on me because they thought that I cheated on them. So they cheated on me. Oh, for sure. But actually for once I really didn't cheat on them. And I was like, this is crazy. And then it was wild. I got kicked out of the house. Like he's like, I have a job and you don't. I'm like, that's, my job is not going to pay for a house. So I ended up going to stay at this house I'd been partying at with these two dudes. Okay. And I end up getting with one of the dudes, and I end up being with this dude, and this is where the whole FLDS cult thing comes back into play, right? Okay. These two dudes live together. They're Lost Boys, which Lost Boys are dudes that have been kicked out of the cult. Oh, okay. Or left the cult, right? Okay. Like, so he was kicked out when he was 13. His dad basically said, you can stop getting in trouble and stop doing what you're not supposed to, or you can get out of this family. And he said, I will get out of this family. And he left him on the side of the road, and he proceeded to walk around, and he met this guy that was a painter, and this guy took him in and taught him how to paint houses. Damn. It was crazy. He had a wild story. So I see that he's got a condo. It's really nice. Him and his homie. His homie is dating my best friend at the time. Oh, okay. And she was the one that was always like, come party, come drink.
Come mingle here.
Yeah. And so I end up with this dude, and I end up like in a relationship with him for a really long time. Yeah. And we were smoking the pills. Okay. And we were drinking, and he was working, and I see. The roommate was also smoking pills with us. And then the place I was getting the pills from, the person, it dried up. And I was like, yo, this dried up. And they were like, can you get some more? And I was like, no. I was like, the only thing I can get is black heroin. And they're like, oh, well, no. And then, yeah. And my boyfriend at the time, he had already been strung out before. I see. In the very far past. Like he had like moved to Oklahoma at one point and got super strung out and then moved back. Oh, okay. So he like knew what was up. But the roommate was like, oh, like, but then he was cool with it. So that's what I did. I got it. And I was like, well, I was like, if I get in it, I had never smoked heroin at this point because I was like,
you were a slammer.
I was way too good to smoke it. Yeah, like, why would you waste wasteful? It? Yeah, so I got a needle from the girl that I got it from, and me and the dude shot up, and then we didn't stop. We never stopped. Like it started as I was like a heroin housewife. I would wake up in the morning. My shot of heroin would be in the fridge, the mini fridge next to the bed that he had made for me because I wouldn't even cook my own shots. He would do it for me. Finally, I found a relationship with somebody that I could walk on instead of them walking on me. And really sickly, it felt good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's horrible, but that's the truth. Right. And so I would do my little shot in the morning, and then I would get up. Like I would do the shopping, I would do the cooking, I would do the cleaning. We lived in a super clean, nice place. And we did that for a long time. And I would go see him at lunch and take him a shot of heroin till lunch. It was like normal. It was like normal. It was just normal, right? Yeah. And then I accidentally got hooked up with a paisa to get heroin from in Vegas. And I really did accidentally. I was trying to get clean, and I went to Vegas and I had a Suboxone, and then I decided it was going to be my 21st birthday. We're in Vegas. I'm with some normal friends too.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm just going to do Suboxone. All I wanted for my 21st birthday was to be able to go out and drink and have fun with my friends and not be strung out.
Right.
So I have the Suboxone and I'm getting sicker and sicker by the hour. And my friends are showing up at the hotel. Like it's like I was there the day before. Mm-hmm. And finally I'm like, I don't really want to take this Suboxone because I know if I take it, then I'm not going to be able to get loaded. And my addiction is so much stronger than me, right? So I messaged the only person besides some family I have, the only person that lives in Vegas is this kid I went to treatment with.
Okay.
I hit him up and we end up going to meet him, and he's like, the smallest amount of heroin I can give you is like a half piece.
Damn.
And
smallest?
And I was like, okay, send it. Let's go.
Yeah.
I had my boyfriend got down there and he had just gotten paid. And so we decided we'll just buy it and then we'll sell it. Because in Utah, you can sell it for significantly more money.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
It's point for point there usually. Like, so, you know, like a dub is actually only like 2 points.
Really?
Yes.
That's fuck
so
it.
$20. So 0.1 a balloon is $20.
0.1 is $20.
Yes, I'm telling you, it may not be. I don't know how it is now. It's been years. Anyways, we're seeing dollar signs.
Right.
We're seeing Mexican tar. We're seeing
Mexican
dollar
tar.
signs.
Yeah,
we're seeing. We're gonna be. This is the only time we're gonna do this. We're never gonna do this again.
Wow.
So we start doing that. I go out on my birthday, high as a kite, drunk as a skunk.
Yeah.
Literally acted a fool the entire night, embarrassed all my friends. Woke up the next day and went home, and we started doing that, and I got hooked immediately, to selling it and to having power and control, and and having people come to me for what they needed.
For sure.
And I loved it. I was so addicted to the game.
Yeah.
And
Queen Black Tar.
he would go to work and I would go running around.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I drove a minivan, so it was really inconspicuous. And I looked like, in Utah at that point, I looked like I could be a mom because moms are very young there.
Yeah. There you go. You fit right in.
And we were just doing the thing, and then slowly over time, things just started to go haywire. Like he stopped paying the full rent on the condo, and I didn't know about that. And then things just started to happen, and we started having relationships with people that were like sketchy, and it started to feel more and more like things were getting out of control, and like our house was turning into a trap instead of our home.
Until a home,
and I just had no control of it because for me, like, I just wanted to stay loaded, and I just wanted to like get loaded and smoke cigarettes in the garage. I had no dreams or aspirations. I had no like, this is what I'll do in the future. Maybe someday I'll do this. It was literally, I was totally content living like that. And then we lost the condo. Mm-hmm. We went back to my dad's house. My dad actually really, really liked that boyfriend.
Really?
So did my mom. Actually, he still works for my brother. Yeah. He was favored in our family.
Oh, okay.
But
the best one of the lot.
We went to live at my dad's house, and I was like, this is stupid. I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I ended up leaving him at my dad's house and like giving him his promise ring. And being like, I don't want to do this anymore, because what I wanted to do was I had met some other dude at a trap house that I was going to. And I wanted to just run around with him all day and take him to Vegas with me to re-up because he didn't have to go to work because he didn't have a job. And I was like I was sick of like trying to get clean. Like we had tried on and off to get clean, and it was like I would try to get clean and then he would use, or he would try to get clean and I would use. And I was like, maybe if we just separate from each other, that will work. But at this point we had traded the minivan in, and I had bought this like super nice Infinity. I was driving around thinking I was 50 Cent and Get Rich or Die Trying.
Fuck yeah.
But I'm in a small town in Utah, you know? Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And, it didn't take long from that point on. I'm still in mental health court, right? Like, still going to court, pretending to be normal. And somewhere around this time, they got an actual, like, cop to be the tracker, and she started showing up at people's houses to drug test.
I see.
And so the first time she showed up at my house, she was like, I was like, oh no. And this was right before we lost the condo. Yeah. She was like, can you test? I was like, yeah. She's like, are you going to pass? I was like, no. And she was like, well, what are you going to fail for? I was like, well, how many panels does it have? Because at this point, I was like smoking a little meth sometimes, doing a little bit of Xanax
Got
sometimes.
the whole rainbow.
Yeah, so I failed
lit
the
up.
test for like a lot of things.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow. She's like, I'm not going to take you to jail right now, but when you go to court this week, you're probably going to jail. And then they started putting me in jail like for 48 hours or for like 3 days, like 4 days. Like it was like they weren't really giving me real consequences.
Right.
They were being very lenient and I was being very manipulative.
Oh, for sure.
And I wasn't being honest about how strung out I was because I wasn't ready to stop.
Right.
So I kept manipulating the system and I leave my dude and I go off and I decide I'm just going to run around with this other dude and stay in my car and at the trap house and whatever. And my dad is like pissed. My dad is like, what is wrong with you? And eventually, like, I lost my car. Once I lost my car, like, I went to jail one time and they took my car and it had like everything I owned in it, all my clothes, everything. Like when that happened, I really like I got out that time and I was like at the bottom. Like And that's when I decided to go on the run. And because I felt like I can't get in. There's no treatment programs here. There's no. It's like a 6-month wait to get into the Horizon House. The Horizon House is an hour away.
Oh, shit.
And it's shitty. It's not a good program anyways. And there's no detox.
Right.
So I was thinking like, and at this point, I had been loaded for a while.
Yeah.
And I was like terrified.
You're going to be sick.
I was going to be sick. And I was so scared. And I was like, maybe if I could get out of here, then maybe I'll get better. And so I'm like, I'm just going to like stop going. Like, I just didn't go to court. You know, I started doing a lot more meth. Like a lot, because meth was free. You know what I mean? Like I could always get smoked out with meth anywhere I went.
I've never paid for meth.
Yeah, it's like it's weird. It's the devil's drug. Anyways,
yeah, it is.
I got super strung out on that too, without meaning to. Right? Like I thought I was gonna quit shooting heroin. So I'm like, I'll smoke meth and then I'll quit shooting heroin. I'll just smoke a little bit of heroin to deal with the withdrawals, and then I'll smoke meth, and then I'll get off the meth because I don't like the meth as much as the heroin.
Okay.
And then I just ended up strung out on both.
Really?
You know? Like, then I ended up just shooting up both. And going into psychosis every time I would shoot up meth. Every single time. Oh,
nice.
Every single time.
Yeah, that must not be good for your mental health.
No, not good at all. And I finally hit the bottom after, you know, I ran out of places to stay. Like, I pretty much had ran amok and, like, I lost my car. I no longer had the ability to drive down and pick up. And, like, so my only hustle was to, like, get a couple people who needed dope and get them together and get them some dope and take some of it and get, you know, I was like getting down to like the nitty gritty. Yeah. You know, I was losing my ability to keep up with getting loaded and feeding myself every day.
Right.
And things started to get scary because I also was like going into these psychoses or blackouts where I would wake up and have lost like a couple days and not know like where I was, what happened, coming to, and like not knowing what happened to me as a female, like going to a party and then coming to like a day later.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And like, just, I no longer had a man to like keep me level. I was out there running amok by myself, and I had all the people thinking that I had some kind of like power and stuff, but I had dropped lower and lower and lower.
Right.
And so I finally had nowhere else to go, and I ended up at my best friend's apartment, and she was a tweaker, her and her boyfriend, and they took me in, and they were like, "You can't do heroin here."
Oh.
And I was like, "Okay, won't be doing that."
For sure.
And they took me in, so I was living at that trap house for a while, and there was a little kid there. It was my godson. He was only 2 years old at the time, and his mom would go work at Burger King and in the morning, and I was supposed to like wake up and watch him. Like that was kind of the deal, and I was down to do that because I loved him.
Yeah.
Like I was there when he took his first steps. Like he, you know, that was my little dog. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch him. But then like over time, I started to realize that like I was doing the same thing that was done to me, like, you know, going in a room and closing the door and like the kids just like knocking on the door, or like sleeping through I'm supposed to wake up and like feed this kid breakfast and take care of him, and I'm like out because I've been up for so long.
Right.
And I started to like realize like what I was doing to this child and what we were doing to him.
Right.
And I started to try to say something a little bit. They did not like that.
No.
And so it became like time to go, and I had made a friend in San Diego, and he had offered to come get me anytime and help me out. He obviously probably like, you know, I was a girl, like pretty girl. I'm gonna, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
and so I hit him up, and it took a little bit, but after like a few weeks, I was like, all right, I'm serious. Like you can come get me. And he came and got me, and I like packed up my stuff in his car and left, and literally thought I was just going to leave my addiction and everything behind.
All behind. Yeah.
That's
and over there.
I got to San Diego and I started going to meetings, but I was taking Suboxone and I was still smoking weed. Because to me, if you could go in a store and buy weed, it's like,
That's good.
it's fine. And I just like didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Sure.
And I didn't even really like it that much anymore.
Really?
But I was just doing it for something to do. And I would go to meetings, and I met this guy, and we started hanging out, and he took me to Knotfest.
Oh,
and
cool.
I was like, this is awesome. And we were hanging out, and we were starting to like each other.
Right.
And then I'm sure he knew, like, I had to have smelled like weed.
Sure.
And then I get kicked out of the place I'm staying because I smoked weed inside, and I wasn't supposed to. And so
Yikes.
it was someone else's house. So my friend was like,
see.
yo, you got to go.
Okay.
And also he knew I had another boyfriend. He knew, like, I was like, dude, we have to have like a brother-sister relationship. I just told him straight up. I was like, we need to be like friends because I can't, you can't pursue me. I'm pursuing someone else. And I finally had that conversation with him.
For sure.
And so I'm pretty sure that also played into me getting kicked out.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was like, I'm going to be homeless in San Diego, and I am not going to make it. Like, I'm not going to survive here. Like, what am I going to do? And he was like, go turn yourself in. And I was like, never. I'm not going to do that. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to, like, no way. I didn't want to do that. And so the dude I was seeing, he told me, like, I was like crying all night long and just like, what am I going to do? And just kind of like, I don't know, I'm sick because at this point I had started to do heroin sometimes because my drug dealer would come to Mexico from Utah.
Oh,
You know, so it was bad. I was like spiraling again very quickly.
sure,
It happened so fast. And so, yeah, it was kind of like that turning point, you know, the fork in the road. Like, what are you going to do, you know?
Right.
Are you going to keep doing the same thing and keep getting what you're getting?
Right.
Or are you going to give up and just like give in?
Yeah.
And I just gave in. I was just like, okay, like whatever's going to happen, I'm just going to face it. And then the dude texted me and was like, you can come live at my house if you get a job. And if you come to the shop where he owned a shop if you come to the shop until you get a job or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy. That was like one of those things where I was like, God, is that you? Did something just happen? Like I gave up, and then the solution happened. So he came and picked me up, and I moved in with him, and I literally kicked in his room, and I went to meetings, and they dragged me around to campouts and hiking, and
while you're dope sick, and
while I'm dope sick, and
shit.
And I started working the steps with a woman, and I couldn't even look people in the eye at first. Like, I would go into meetings and just, like, sit there. And I would go to the same meetings every week that were, like, super small because I was just terrified.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, I didn't know at that point, like, I had gone from heroin housewife all the way to, like, all the way down to, like, animalistic level of just, like, surviving. Like, by the time he picked me up, like, I had it, like, when he first picked me up, we went to Ventura because he was doing a training there. He's in the military. We were staying in this, like, extended stay hotel.
Yeah.
I, like, fell on the floor unconscious and had to go to the hospital because I was so malnourished.
Right.
And it was, like, I was in the hospital for, like, 5 days.
Shit.
And that's when they put me on Suboxone.
I see.
And I gained, like 10 pounds. Like, the clothes I wore in there, I couldn't wear out.
Oh, no way.
Because I was so sick from not eating and not sleeping and all of it. And so this kid's like taking me in, his family's taking me in. They give me a little job at his aunt's animal sanctuary. And I just started like the recovery process. Like I didn't have a car for a long time.
Yeah.
He like would take me and drop me off at work.
Yeah.
I got a job at McDonald's in Santee and did that for a little bit. And he would take me there, and then he'd go to work and then pick me up. Like, he did a lot for me.
Right.
And I was able to stay clean for 3.5 years. And I worked all 12 steps. I had the psychic change that it talks about in the AA book.
Okay.
I literally grew up. Like, I started to, like, take responsibility. I moved out of his parents' house and ended up renting a room with the same friend that brought me out here.
Okay.
So, like, we stayed friends.
Yeah.
We're still friends. He's actually moving in with me.
No.
That's a whole thing. Yeah, he's in the military and he's getting restationed here, so he's going to rent a room from me. So it's like full circle.
Full circle.
So I'm doing the thing, and I really did the thing. Like, I worked the steps. I had the spiritual experience, and like, I found a God, but I didn't have like a relationship with God. I just it was very vague, and it was like a journey or a path to like seeking of like, what am I? I'm just going to keep seeking, and that's what I did. And at 3.5 years, I started to have some like hypomanic symptoms, which I wasn't aware that, like, being on medication and not using anymore, I didn't think that I could have like symptoms of bipolar again.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't looking for them.
Sure.
I started having hypomanic symptoms, which is like, hypomania is like before you're full blown manic. So hypomania is manageable. It might be like shopping, spending too much money, like going out, like like being hypersexual or whatever.
I see.
So I started to have some hypomanic symptoms and didn't really know. I thought I was just living my best life because it feels awesome until it doesn't, you know?
Right.
And during that time, I ended up cheating on my boyfriend and I didn't tell my sponsor. I felt ashamed and she was friends with him and I kept it a secret.
Oh, for sure.
And then just like using drugs, it became a thing where it snowballed. Like I didn't just do it one time. It like continued.
Yeah. Like one secret
and then I was living
others.
like a double life. And then I was like, my life started falling apart very quickly.
Yeah.
Once he found out and like we kind of like, we broke up and he moved out because he was also renting the room with me.
Yeah.
He moved out, and he like I think he thought we were going to work on our relationship, but I was like, bye.
Okay.
Because I had met somebody during this time. I was bouncing around doing all kinds of stuff. I was like going out dancing. It all started with going out dancing and drinking Red Bulls. That's what started it for me. And then eventually staying up late, drinking Red Bulls, not eating right, not sleeping on a schedule. It got to me and I started to get symptomatic again without knowing.
Right.
And so I was making decisions from a place that I wasn't well.
Right.
And then I met Sam. We'll call him Sam.
Okay. I think I know Sam.
The one you were friends with, yeah.
I know Sam.
So then I met Sam at a meeting, and we fell in love at first sight.
Yeah.
And I literally just like broke up with my boyfriend, picked up Sam from treatment, moved him into the apartment. My roommate moved out and gave me the apartment, like let me sign onto the lease.
Yeah.
And it was all crazy, but it was all about getting that need for connection met. And the codependency felt so close to like the connection I have with God now, the relationship I have with God. Codependency feels so close to it. It's a counterfeit. Yeah. And so he became my higher power. He became the most important thing, and he couldn't stay clean.
Yeah.
He couldn't stay clean, and I tried a bunch of different ways to make him stay clean. And I felt like it was because of me he couldn't stay clean. I felt like if you love me enough, it went back to my relationship with my mom. Like, if you love me enough, why don't you just stop using? Even though I'm an addict, and I know, I literally know that it's not about how much you love your loved ones. That doesn't dictate whether or not the addiction has you by the throat.
You can only fix yourself.
Exactly. This is becoming a very long story. But anyways, I went through the codependency.
Yeah.
I ended up using during that relationship. I relapsed, and it took me a while to get back because I relapsed, came back, and then like a couple months later, used like 1 or 2 times, and then came back. Like I had 9 months at one point. I spoke at an HA meeting in Santee, and the next day found dope in his pants pocket and used it. So, it was being like that. It was like and everyone was around me was like, what is she doing with this fool? Or like, why don't you leave him? Or why don't you guys take a break? And I felt like if you leave somebody when they're at their worst, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to leave somebody when they're in like the worst time, the worst part of their addiction, you're going to leave them. Like you're not loyal. Like what? But I had this twisted idea of loyalty because of abandonment issues with my mom. Like, because it felt like you don't give up no matter what. Like you just, whatever. And the truth is like I was going to die. Like I had an overdose when I relapsed one of the times. Like I had an overdose that was bad. And like it messed my brain up.
I see.
And it was like a whole thing. And I continued to use after that. Yeah. And I would sit there and use with the book on my bed. Like I would use and like I wanted to be in recovery. Like I knew what it was like to be free. And I was back in bondage. And it was the most terrifying thing because it got to a point very quickly where I didn't know if I would ever get out of it. And because I was being secretive and not telling people what was going on, like it was very isolating and I was all alone. And eventually I finally couldn't control him, couldn't stop using, and I finally surrendered. And like he went to treatment at one point and I had stopped for a little bit, but then once he came home, we started using again. Yeah. And so this time, like we were at his parents because our roommate that we had at the time was using, and we went to his parents to try to stay clean so that the roommate could have a 30-day notice to move out. Yeah. So basically we were like, you have 30 days, we're going to go stay somewhere else and you need to get out. We were trying to be nice because we care about him. Right. And, we were at his parents and I found out I found drugs in his car. Like we were like 2 weeks in and I was happy. He was sitting on our bed doing step work with me. And I literally, he went to take a shower and this is how I know I have like a special gifting because he went to take a shower and I literally got this feeling there's drugs in his car. And so I took his keys and I went and I looked and I found drugs in his car, and he came running out, and I just, I had no emotions that time. Like, it was like I had nothing left in me. And I just looked at him, and I got in my car, and I drove away, and I went to my sponsor and gave her the dope, and she threw it away. Yeah. And I went back the next morning and got my stuff, and I took my stuff back to my apartment. And when I got there, the roommate was already gone.
Wow.
So at that point, I was able to like start over, but the healing process and the grieving process from that relationship was so brutal. Like,
for sure. The trauma.
It took like a couple years to like truly feel like I was over it. Like, even when I got married to my husband, like when I got with my husband initially, like I had to like tell him like, this is what's going on, you know? And like, he knew that like if Sam called me, that I was going to answer the phone. And it wasn't like because I want to be with him. It was like, I want to make sure he's not dead. Yeah. And even like still, if he messages me and is like, hey, how you doing? I will respond and be like, how are you? Whatever, because I do want to know that he's not dead, you know, I'm not going to erase that whole part of my life, because it wasn't like abuse. It was different. And it was just the using, it was the addiction that like
trauma bonding.
We trauma bonded totally. And part of me like knows that it was necessary for my own character development. And when I went to make amends to him, I had to wait so long for him to be clean. Like, I had to wait around to make amends until he finally got clean. And he got clean for like 5 months at one point. Yeah. And I went to make amends to him, and it was so, like, it was, like, crazy, because I had grown a lot. I had done a lot of work, and I had grieved a lot. And when I met with him, it was, like, he was the same, kind of, you know? Like, he was just the same. And I had to tell him the truth, which was, like, I had to tell him, like, because he asked me, he's like, are you excited to get married? You know, and I was like, yeah. And I had to tell him, like, you know, thank you for, like, everything that we went through together. It literally made me the person that I am. And I wouldn't have the relationship I have now with my husband if I didn't go through that relationship with Sam and learn all of the things about myself. Yeah. Because a relationship is a mirror. Like, we look at it's a mirror. It seemed like it was about him and his using for a long time, but eventually it became about me and my need to stay connected and have that need met by a person who's always going to fail me. Even the most perfect human being you could find is still a human being, and they're going to fail you. Only your higher power can meet that true need for connection. Right. And so I thanked him for that. And like, you know, and it was hard because I knew that he told me, he's like, I just feel like I am in a relationship with someone, and then we break up, and then they end up clean and married. Because that's been his pattern, you know.
It has been.
And so I tried to speak some life into him and tell him that it doesn't have to always be that way. You know, it can. It's up to him to change it. But we all have our own path, and it is really hard to get out of a trauma bonded relationship. Yeah, absolutely. But it's so freeing. Like, ever since that breakup, it's been like I know I can go through really painful things. Right. And I know that, like, I know who I am now, and like I know that no matter what, I have to like prioritize myself, my needs, instead of like putting it all on another person. Absolutely. And so that was one of the most valuable lessons that I learned. And after that, I was able to stay clean and start working the steps, truly working the steps through the NA book and the step working guide. And I really dived into NA. I see. And started being of service, started just living the life of recovery. And my life started to get good very quickly, but I also had a lot of grief and stuff to deal with. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, when you see someone's life and it just seems awesome and they have a year, 2 years clean, whatever, like, you got to remember also that, like, underneath, like, it took a lot to get there. There's been a lot, like, we go through a lot to get the time that we get. Right. Like, time does matter because over time we're literally healing, and we're on this journey seeking out this connection. And I met my husband, and he was. I was
about to ask that.
Yeah, he was. Him? I met him at the Serenity shop, and
oh, really?
And it was so funny. I was just like, "Stay away from me." I actually met him while I was still with Sam, but then then he went away and he went to Crash. I think he like went to Crash twice, I think. And then later on, I met him again. And when I met him again, I was pursuing someone else. He was like messing around with people, and we were just friends. Right. And I would give him rides, and like he would, you know, he had a plan.
Oh, I see.
He had a plan,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
for
didn't
sure.
know, and even when we started like being together, I didn't know where it was going to go or whatever, because I was so broken that I even told him, like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be capable of like giving all of myself to someone again.
Yeah.
Once you get hurt so bad, it can be difficult to be vulnerable again.
Right.
And it's been a journey in our marriage to become vulnerable and have true intimacy with each other, because a part of me wanted to keep some of that to myself and keep it safe because it felt safer. And he was down to wait, he told me he would wait. And he also told me that you got to let her dance, like that it was okay if I wanted to go out and do things on my own, if I wanted to go to concerts by myself or go out with my girlfriends or whatever. Like he never made it a thing. Like he never was like, where are you? Or I miss you. Or when are you coming home? Or like, you better get home. Like he never did anything like that to make me feel like I couldn't just be myself. Yeah. And that was huge, and then we started on our journey together, and we decided we wanted to build a life together, and we became very motivated about what we were going to do for our careers. He was doing like concrete or rebar or something, and I pushed him to go union. He became a union iron worker. Nice. I was doing like peer support work, and then I ended up getting into a like bachelor's level position as a like a clinical case manager, but I didn't have the degree, but they put me in it because my work ethic, I guess. So I was working in the field. I was working with the homeless, like chronically homeless and severely mentally ill, getting to like love some of the people that are most unloved or forgotten about in society, which that whole working in that field like literally changed me as a person. But also after doing it for like 3.5 years, 4 years, I burned out and was like, okay, I need a change. So I went to work in treatment.
I see.
And then, we didn't want kids. But after we got married...
Really? You didn't?
No, we didn't want kids at all. And after we got married, something shifted. I started to see people with babies, and I was like...
It was a boom.
It's different once you have a stable relationship, Like, you think you don't want kids, but you might. Yeah. You might, And I started to realize that all of the reasons that I didn't want children was, like, not relevant anymore. Like, I was like, oh, my trauma, or, like, my genes, I don't want to pass them on, or, like, I wouldn't be a good mom, or all that stuff. All that stuff became, like... irrelevant because I was stable and he was stable, and it started to become what we wanted, and so we decided to do it, and I was able to like stay stable and be pregnant and have the baby, and I didn't suffer much postpartum really, and it was amazing. And then after she was born, there was like a whole nother level of my mom stuff. You think you deal with something and you've forgiven and you're like good, and then you have a kid and you are like, wow.
So every day you got a reminder.
How could any, like this is like, but what I can say is like, my mom has always loved me. She's always supported me. And she's always shown up in the capacity that she can. It hasn't been like a perfect relationship. We've been friends at certain points. There was a point where we were in jail at the same time. There was a point where we were using together at the same time. Like we've had it on and off, but I've broken the cycle, and like a lot of that is because of the step work that I've done and like changing my whole life. But also like once I had this little baby, it was like, man, there's got to be something more. Like there has got to be something more than what I've been experiencing spiritually. Because at that point I was still like seeking, and I was doing all these things trying to like find God and feel connection, and just trying all the different things you could possibly do, open to everything. And just kind of like all paths, like the same, whatever.
Open-minded.
And I was very like, witchy. Like I had like all the tarot cards. I had tarot cards. I would do that. I was doing Reiki. I was doing lots of things, and like, I was happy doing those things. And I felt like some of that stuff was like helping me. But after I had the baby, I realized like there's something so much deeper, like yearning in me to like need to have like more of a relationship with God.
I see.
And during this time, me and Josh were like, let's like we wanted to go to church, but at this point we're like, we don't want to go to Christian church. We're not Christian. So we went to like a new age, like a Christian Science church. So it's like it's hard to explain what it is.
Yeah.
We went to a weird church. Cool. We went to a weird church. It was kind of cool. And we went there and we're like, this is cool going to church, having community, but it was like all older people.
Oh, gotcha.
And during that time I was really close with Elise and Rachel and other moms with all of us having babies.
Yeah. The baby gang.
And Elise was getting really close to Jesus, and she had already been like into Jesus, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, like good for her. And then I watched her walk through a situation, and I watched her like move from resentment to forgiveness very quickly. And it was very attractive to me because it's like when I have a resentment, it takes me a long time
to get over it,
and to like move into making amends and seeing my part.
Got it.
And I was very attracted to that. And I was just like, what is going on over here? And then I was at her house one day. She was watching a show, and it was about Jesus's life. It was about the New Testament. It's called The Chosen. Yeah. And I was just watching the show, and it was a good show. I'm like, this is pretty good. What is this? And she's like, oh, it's about Jesus, about the New Testament. And I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah. And a part of me like wanted to keep watching it. And so I went home and I kept watching it because it was just like, first of all, it's just a good show. Like it's filmed very well. It's really, it's a good show. But also I was like, this is like something, you know, and I had been feeling like, it was like Jesus had been tapping me on the shoulder in a way. Like a lot of things in my life Jesus kept popping up. Like I don't know how to really explain it other than like, it felt like he was just like, kind of tapping me on the shoulder, but I was like, no, like I'm not doing religion. I'm not doing the judgy Christian thing. Sure. You know, I had all these things that I felt. And so I'm watching The Chosen, and I decide I'm going to get a Bible because I want to see how the show aligns with the book of Matthew that the show is based off of. I like want to see how close it lines up. Sure. So I buy a Bible. And I'm hiding it in my car so that nobody knows. Okay. And then I'm also like, I have a lot of questions and things like big questions that people have, you know, like why, like if there's a God and like he's so good, then why is there suffering? Like why are there starving children? Yada yada. I had big questions like that. Sure. And so I like would see like a clip on Facebook or something or on TikTok. And I saw this one about this guy talking about, it was titled it was the Sean Ryan show, and it was a guy, and he was saying, the title was, Who is Jesus Christ? Yeah. And I was like, And so I listened to the whole episode, blew my mind. It blew my freaking mind. The amount of information, and like, I had no idea how much verification and information there is that Jesus hung on the cross and was resurrected. Like, there is so many documents. Yeah. And just it is what it is. I'm not here to like whatever, but I'm just saying that's what was happening to me, and I was having this like awakening. I see. And then I was listening to a podcast driving to pick up Gemma one night, and I had been thinking so much, and just like I've been asking God to like show me a sign, like slap me in the face, and he kept doing that. I see. And so I was listening to this podcast, and at the end of the episode, they did the salvation prayer, and I just said it with them, and I was overcome by the Holy Spirit, and it really like rocked me. It wrecked me and my whole body, and I started crying and shaking and sweating, and just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It was the most loving, forgiving, overwhelming feeling I've ever felt in my life. Yeah. And that's what it feels. That's what the Holy Spirit feels like. It's amazing. And so that happened in my car by myself. And then I picked Gemma up, and I'm like, wow. And I was just like, all right, Jesus, what are we going to do now? What am I going to do now? What's my life going to look like now? Right. Am I going to have to like wear a dress and go to church? Oh yeah. And of course, I kind of thought like, oh, am I going to have to do this or that? And what I found out was that like, I don't have to do anything. Like you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is like believe and follow him, and then he'll guide you what to do. Right. And so that's what I do now is I take that guidance and I take the conviction as it comes. Like if I am convicted by him to do or not do something, then I don't. Like when you asked me to be on the podcast, I didn't just answer immediately. I prayed about it because I wanted to make sure it was what I was supposed to do. I see. I see. And I think people can have that with any of their higher power connections or whatever. Absolutely. And I'm just speaking for myself, but that was my experience. That happened, and it changed everything. It changed the way I'm a mom. I've been able to break cycles and behaviors and things that I wasn't able to do before. Like I was doing step work and going to therapy and all kinds of things to try to stop like yelling at my kid and being controlling and all of these things, right? But like it got to a point where I reached the end of myself, where like there's nothing more I can do. I need something bigger than me. And like what I was working with before, it wasn't big enough. Actually, yeah. And so now he does things for me that I'm like, I can't even believe it. And I'm being a mom and a wife that I most of the time I'm like, who is this person? Like I'm like apologizing to people when I'm wrong. And I'm like, who is that? And I'm like,
10-step automatic.
Yeah. Just like so many things that have changed. And you know, I know that like, I was a good person before. Yeah. But like I was still living in sin in a way of like my behaviors. Like I was still like getting angry a lot and like not able to control my mouth and like gossiping and those types of things. And that's the type of stuff that it didn't get broken off until I found the Lord. And now it's broken off. And when I make a mistake, I have someone to turn to. I have someone that loves me and will never, like, he's never going to forsake me ever. Yeah. Whereas a human being, they're just human beings. Like, even my husband, he's going to hurt me sometimes. He's not always going to be able to show up in the capacity that I need. Right. And so I'm like forever grateful for that experience. And now I'm trying to blend doing Narcotics Anonymous, also knowing Jesus, following Jesus, trying to blend it in a way that is, you know, like I want to be attractive to the newcomer in a sense of I want to help them. I want to work steps with them. I don't want to like push anything on them. Sure. Just like my sponsor did for me. She never brought it up. She let me have my own concept of God. She let me have my higher power. And then once I was like, I found Jesus, she was like, yeah, like now we can, that's a reaction. Now we can bond on a different level, on another level. Yeah. So, I don't go to as many meetings as I used to go to mainly because I have a toddler. And it's really hard. Yeah, it's like really hard to break your routine at nighttime to get to a meeting. Yeah. But I do go to a meeting once a week, and I do hold a commitment that I've had for a long time, and it's kind of a behind the scenes type of commitment. And I stay connected that way, and I still sponsor, and it's a joy. Like it's absolutely 1,000% a joy. I've learned more from sponsoring and having sponsees than I think anything else in recovery because it's like teaches you all about relationships to have sponsees. And no, absolutely. I've had so many sponsees and so many amazing women that I've gotten to like work with, and I don't know, it's a trip. Now I have one sponsee right now, and that's just how it is. That's the season that I'm in, and it's cool, and I'm trying to find other ways to serve just to serve humanity in general. Like what can I do and how can I help? And I have a heart to like help the broken people, you know, because I literally was so broken, especially people experiencing psychosis. Like I remember, you know, and I know that underneath that there's like a human that literally was probably just someone's kid, you know, just a normal kid. Right. And I don't know. I don't work in the field anymore. I stay home, which is a total privilege. Yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom since she was born. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, so we're going on 2.5 years. Oh, and it is absolutely a blessed life. Yeah. Like, I have a garden. I have chickens. I have a home that we bought in 2023. We were able to buy a house. My husband is literally... He is the hardest working person. He is a provider. Yeah. He is a protector. He has stepped into the role of fatherhood and being a husband. Like, he is the most amazing man that I've ever met. And him knowing God and watching his transformation too has been so amazing. Like, he's just incredible. And to think that like I'm going to be his wife and be able to like, I don't know, it's just crazy because when we got married, I wasn't even sure, you know, I was like, I was like afraid. And I never thought I would have like the type of marriage that you like see people have that have good marriages. You're like, oh wow. And then it's like, wow, I'm messed up. I'm never going to be able to get over all this like stuff. And here I am on the other side. And it's been such a beautiful ride. And I think that like, if I had never opened up and gotten a sponsor, like been willing to ask someone to sponsor me and that very first time and asked her to take me through the steps that very first time, like that was like a pivot that changed everything. And I think all of us are one pivot away from completely changing our lives. Like one decision can change the trajectory. And if you let your decisions be guided by your higher power, like it's going to keep that thing's going to keep happening where you like pivot and life gets so amazing. And it doesn't mean it's not going to be painful. Right. Because I've gone through painful things and I'm still going through painful things, but I deal with it in a different way now. And I have like joy that I didn't have joy before. I see. It was always an underlying pessimism. And now there's like an underlying joy. And that's what I want for everybody that I meet and like anyone that's listening is to be able to have joy in the suffering. Yeah. That if you can figure out how to do that, you've like figured out everything. So I believe that. I feel like that was so long. Yeah, no, it's good. It's 7:23. Yeah. We're almost at 2 hours. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. Real quick, where can people find your podcast? Moms Convicted. Yeah. So it's Moms Convicted. It's one word, and we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We're on all of the things. We also have Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Please follow us, because until we get 1,000 followers on Instagram, we can't go live.
Oh,
And
I
it's
didn't know that.
really hard, because when we do events, we want to go live so we can be like, hey, we're doing our thing.
Yeah.
And really, we're just trying to build community with women, you know, and it is a faith-based podcast. We do talk a lot of recovery too, though. And even if you just support us by liking our Instagram or whatever, or following our Instagram, you don't have to listen to us yap.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Grateful
Well, go follow Bre and Rachel, two amazing women.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
Hey.